previous video, we've discussed about bubble sort. This actually gave a very pretty good idea of how sorting works. In today's video, we're going to discuss about selection sort. So let's get started. Let's look at how bubble sort works visually. First, a minimum index value is selected, then it checks all the other values whether is any value lesser than this or not. Now 2 is lesser than 3, so 2 became the minimum index value, and then 2 gets swapped with 3. Now till here it is one listed array or sorted array and now it checks in all these things. Now it checks in all the remaining ones. Now 3 is the least number, so 3 gets swapped with 44. Till 2 and 3 are now sorted. Now it checks the remaining part. Now when it finds 4 will be swapped with 5. Now 4 became the minimum index and this gets swapped. Now it is checking this part. Here 15 is the least number. 15 gets swapped with 47 after it checks all the other values. In the same way, it checks for all the numbers. This process though is also not very efficient, but it is one of the ways to sort numbers. So as you could see, all the numbers are getting sorted. So this is how the selection sort works. We've opened our Eclipse IDE. Now first of all we'll create a variable a equals we'll put some values 3, 4, 5, 30 and some minus value. We've selected some random values. Now let's create a variable called n and store the size of the array in this value a dot length. Now we'll create a for loop for end I equals 0, I less than n minus 1. I'll tell you why we have kept this n minus 1 I plus plus. For int j equals I, j less than n, j plus plus. Now this is the first for loop is the outer loop, or it is for the number of iterations. So in this loop is responsible for the number of iterations. So if there are n elements in the array, the number of iterations would be n minus 1 times, as I think you've seen that visually. So for that we are using this for loop, and we'll create a variable called min and equate this to I. So this min variable keeps on changing for every iteration. I think you've seen this visually. Min or minimum index. This is the minimum index. Now I'll tell you why we have wrote this for loop. Before that we'll write if statement. If a of j is less than a of j is less than a of minimum index, then minimum equals j. So why we wrote this? We wrote this because in every iteration there will be one minimum index value, and if there is any other value lesser than that minimum index, then that value would be swapped. So for swapping, we'll take that temp variable int temp equals a of I equals a of min equals temp. That's it. So this particular thing is going to swap two values. Now in order to print all the elements, we'll use the for each loop. So for int e, we'll choose the variable e this time. For int e, you can choose any other variable. For example, you want to choose k, you can choose k. For int k of a, k colon a, this out, k plus cap. So it is going to print out all the values of k. Now let's print this out before we summarize everything. See, all the values are printed here. -9, all the values are printed in ascending order. So let's look at the code again. This loop is for the number of iterations, for the number of time it prints. So if there are n elements in the code, it is going to print n-1 times. So we've choose this. We've created a minimum index which keeps on changing. And then if a of j is less than a of minimum index, then we swap the values here. And you could see here we have swapped the values using the temporary variable temp, and then we use the for each loop and we've printed everything out. So this is how the code works.
By now, you might have understood how the selection sort works, and you also understood how sorting works. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel.